I can tell you what a great person I am and why teaching is the very best thing in the whole wide world. But I prefer to tell you what led me down this path and why it matters. This is my story. I had a good childhood. We moved a lot. I didn't have access to everything I have access to today, but it was a good life. I had good parents, I had great siblings, and we just loved each other. That's a good thing. I mean, I did fight with my siblings a lot. We came to this country when I was 6 years old. I am a Latina. I dance some good merengue and some salsa. I like my arroz con pollo. And I still speak Spanish at home with my mom. With my husband and kids, we mostly speak English. But with mom and the rest of the family, Spanish. When I came to this country, though, I spoke zero English. Nothing. The good thing I had going for me was that I already knew how to read and write in Spanish. So the transfer of that knowledge was simple. My early elementary years were great. I mean, my teachers referred to me as smart. I didn't know what smart meant at the time. I had to look it up in the dictionary, but they thought I was anyway. I worked really hard. I was in a bilingual program, and I had teachers that really differentiated to meet my needs. I loved school, I learned a lot, and I was really excited to progress. My parents did not joke around when it came to school, especially my dad. It was always school, school, school. School always came first. Our education was top priority. Things changed when I got into upper elementary. I had teachers that didn't really know what to do with me. I had teachers that cared, but they weren't sure how to differentiate. I hadn't quite acquired the English that I should have by that point, and they didn't know what to do with me. There was one year, though, that was really bad. I had a teacher who sat at his desk all day long reading a newspaper. If you were wondering if that's a bad decision as a teacher, it's a bad one. So this is what he did all day long while my friends and I just played. I like to call that my lost years, where I was a forgotten ELL. I fell through the cracks. People weren't really keeping tabs. People weren't really checking to see if there was progress for the ELL kids in the classroom. Just wasn't much accountability at that time. Things have changed. I was a little hesitant to share my experiences. I didn't want anyone to think I was speaking down on education, but I'm a teacher. Education is the last thing I speak badly about because education is what I truly care about. But that was my experience. I didn't have a very good one. I was left behind pretty much. I was forgotten, and I was doing very poorly in school because the people that were supposed to care about me at that time, my instructors, the educators that I was surrounded by, didn't care that much as they should. Later down the line, I was mainstreamed into an English-only classroom. By that point, I was pretty good in conversational English, but my academic English, oh gosh, that was bad, y'all. It was bad. And so my teachers had a lot of gaps to fill. They had a lot of work to do with me. I wasn't understanding the concepts they were trying to teach me because I wasn't understanding the language very well. My vocabulary was limited. It wasn't until high school that I truly found myself. And this all happened because of one teacher. One teacher. One teacher made all the difference in my life. Mind you, at the time, I couldn't stand him. He used to mark up my papers with that red pen of his. He used to get me really mad. And then he used to always say, "Miss Torres, I believe you can do better." But the problem was, I didn't really think I could do better. I used to see the work my peers produced, and I used to wonder why I couldn't produce the same level of work that they produced. This teacher in particular pushed me. He said, "I believe you can do it. You can do it." In addition to him believing in me, I had a passion for reading. When I tell you reading saved me, I mean reading saved me. I read so much that my parents thought I was depressed. I used to come home and just dump my backpack and get into bed and dim the lights. Well, I used to dim the lights first, then get into bed and just pull out a book and read. It filled my soul. It satisfied me. I loved it so very much. My parents thought I was depressed. They thought there was something wrong with me because I wasn't associating with people. I wasn't interacting with others. I wasn't having a social life. They didn't understand that reading filled me. I was reading educational books. My vocabulary was improving. My spelling was better. My grammar was better. This teacher, coupled with my love for reading, made a difference in my life. The one thing, though, was that although my vocabulary improved, I still spoke simply because I didn't want people to hear my accent, and I also didn't want to mispronounce words. You see, I had learned all these big words through reading them, not because I had actually heard people use them. So I became smart on paper. My writing, I sounded smart, but when I spoke, I limited myself. I didn't want to speak out loud. I didn't want people to hear me and say, oh, she's very uneducated, even though I wasn't. I think of that experience and I think of those students in our classroom, the ones that are still learning English, and we want to push them, we want them to talk, and we're pushing them, and they're apprehensive, and we're saying they're defiant. And now I remember that story and that experience, and I know that that may not always be the case, that there may be underlying issues that are keeping them from speaking up. By the second semester in high school, I was enrolled in AP courses. And my sophomore year and my junior year, all the way to my senior year, I was taking AP courses and I was doing well on them. I was having great writing pieces and I was speaking up in class and I was being engaged because one teacher believed in me, because one teacher took the time to differentiate and meet me at my needs. One teacher. That's all it takes sometimes. You can be that one teacher. I decided that I wanted to be that one teacher. But it took me a while to realize that. Let me tell you about college. College was not a walk in the park. I went to a prestigious school in Boston, which in layman's terms is I went to a very expensive college that I could not afford. Yes. I really wanted to get ahead and I wanted to have a good college education and I wanted it to be from one of the top universities in Boston. But I couldn't afford it. After a while, my parents sat me down and they had to tell me, okay, we can't afford your tuition anymore. This was so devastating to me. I had a dream. A dream had been planted inside of me. And I was being told I couldn't accomplish it because money was getting in the way. That was hard. To condense it down for you, it took me a total of 11 years to graduate with a master's degree. Took me a very long time. During my 5th year in college, my husband and I decided that we were ready to be parents. Yes. But that same year, my father got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. The man that had always told me I could be whoever I wanted to be, my hero, was hit by this devastating disease that took his life away. At 3 months of pregnancy, my father passed away. He never met my daughter, who was his first grandchild. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to face. It actually caused me so much pain that at the time I had to quit school. I couldn't continue. I took about 2 years off. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. But that voice inside of me kept speaking to me and telling me, you have to do this. You can do this. And I kept being reminded of my father's words and his belief in me. I was the first person in my family to go to college and the first person to graduate. I didn't always want to be a teacher. Nope. I wanted to be a doctor. Anyone could have asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? A doctor. I didn't even think about it. I always knew this is what I want to do with my life. But then when I was in college and I needed to pay for tuition and I needed to get a job, I got a job as a teacher's aide. It was just to pay tuition. That's all it was. What I didn't know was that I would fall in love. I would fall in love with the students. I would fall in love with the light bulb moments and their smiles and their growth and the way they hugged me. I had no idea that students could have such an impact in my life. And I decided that I would become a teacher because it is what I was meant to do. It is what I was born to do. And I just kept thinking of my father and the hopes and dreams he had for me. And I would look down at those students that didn't speak English or were looked at like they were disadvantaged. And I would think, nope, there is hope for you. There is hope. And then I would think about my teacher, the one that made a difference in my life. And I would say, you know what? I'm going to instruct you and push you the way that teacher did it for me. That's what I do today. I love what I do. I could sit and cry about my experiences. I mean, some days I do, let's be honest. But those experiences led me to where I am today. This is why teaching matters so much to me. This is why teaching is ingrained in my soul and in my heart. I believe that teaching is not just textbooks. It comes with a lot more behind it. It comes with passion. It comes with love. It comes with heart and soul. That students not only need to be instructed for their brains, but they also need to be instructed for their hearts and their souls. I believe in the power of showing kids that they matter to you, that they matter to me. I love what I do. I know that all my teacher friends love it too. We don't go into this business just because. This matters. This really makes a difference. I wouldn't be here today were it not for one teacher that made that difference. Being disregarded for a few years in school allowed me to pick up those books and to educate myself. But see, it opened up an area in my brain that I don't think I would have been able to tap otherwise. Now, I'm not saying that, yay, I'm so glad I was forgotten for a little while there, because then it gave me the ability to do something I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I decided to take those experiences and turn them around and look at the positive. That my passion for reading and being able to read educational books and understand those concepts and turn them around and really break them down are what really helped me when it came to education and becoming an educator. Because now I can look at standards and I can unpack them. I look at things and I could break them down and they just make sense. I'm able to sit down and create lesson plans and really dive right in because of those experiences. And that's why I'm here today. I started with Buggy for First, and it was just, okay, let's do it. I like bugs. That's what I have in my classroom. Let's just do it. And look at me now. I have a website. I don't even know how that happened other than by the grace of God, quite frankly. If I'm going to be really honest with you, I don't think I could do any of this without the help of God. You see, Primary Cornerstone is not just about education. It is also about how I am founded, I am strong, and am able to stand up tall because I have a rock that sustains me. That is who I am. I am a believer. I am someone who loves God and loves to do what I do through His grace. You see, I don't see teaching as just another job or a career even. I see it as my ministry. I feel that I was called to do this, and I absolutely love it. What am I going to do with all this then? Well, I love teaching in the classroom. I love working with my students, but I also love working with other teachers. I want to work with you. I want to connect with other teachers. If you're feeling lost in some areas, I want to help you. If you're looking at standards and saying, what in the world is this? I want to help you. I want to work with you. If you have ELs in your classroom and you're saying, I have no idea how to differentiate for them, I want to work with you. If you're trying to implement more vocabulary skills in your classroom for your students, let's work together. If your classroom is a hot mess and it's not organized, I want to work with you. I believe organization is like number one, because when you're organized, it's easy to access things that you're going to need in order to be able to provide quality instruction. So whatever it is, I want to work with you. Do I have my days where I wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just want to stay in bed? Absolutely. But I have learned that I'm not an island. I have made it to where I am with the help of a lot of people. And so in our community, when we work together, I believe we could do greater things. So hey, I want you, that's you, Kay wants you, to subscribe to my channel. Yes, go ahead and subscribe, and there will be lots more videos. This one was to tell you all about me, why I do what I do, why it matters to me. I want you to get to know me a little better. But I also want you to keep watching all of the other videos that are going to come your way. Some may be a little silly, some will be very instructional, but either way, the purpose of them all is to be able to connect with you and to be able to work with you, because that's what I really like. I love connecting with people. I love connecting with students. I love connecting with adults. Well, not all adults, but you know, most. Yeah. Let's do this. Go ahead and subscribe. You know you want to.